Hey everybody, in this video we're going to talk about lists, but more specifically we're going to figure out how to get values from a list. So we have a list here of 4 people's names, and let's say that we want to get the name Aaron from this list. So let's do a print statement, and from the list names we want to go ahead and get the item 0 from it, or the index 0. So it's always the name of the list that you want to get the information from, and then brackets, just like we make it here, and then the position, also known as the index of it. So as we set up here, first item in the list has an index of 0. So it's 0, 1, 2, and 3. So if we go ahead and run this, we'll get Aaron. If we want to get the name of Becca from the list, we would do a 1. And then a really common thing to do right away is notice that we have 4 items in our list. We're just like, hey, I want to get the 4th person in a list. And then we run it and we get an index error. So these are indices right here, index 0, 1, and 4. And it says list index out of range. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get what's over here, and there's nothing over here. This is index 0, 1, 2, 3, and we're trying to get 4, but 4 doesn't exist. So just know that if you get this index out of range, that's probably what you did. So if I want to get the last person, I just do 3. So getting the last name and knowing the length of the list. So I personally know that there's only 4 people in this list. A lot of times we don't know because the list can grow because more people register for something, or we got information from a database and it got filled up automatically from that. But since we know specifically, we can go ahead and just do this, and we can put a 3 there. But like I said, that's not always the case. Sometimes we don't know the length of the list. So what we can do instead is we can use this function called len. Len is short for length, and it returns the length of the list. So it's a function, and we need to give it a value, a parameter, and then it'll give us a number back. And can you take a guess what we need to put as a parameter? We need to put the name of the list. Sorry, len first, and then the name of the list, which is names. Let me just kind of space this out a little bit so it's a little bit better to read. So we're going to get the length of the names array, and then we're just going to go ahead and print that out. So now if we run it, we get 4 because there's 4 items in our array. Now we can actually use this function len to go ahead and give us the last item in the array or the list. So we can do print, and then, well, actually, let me do it a little bit simpler way and kind of separate the 2 out because it can be hard to read. So we can do the last index. So we're going to make a variable called last index, and we're going to do the length of the names array, which we know is 4, but then we want to get the 3rd index. So we're just going to go ahead and subtract 1. This right here is really common in programming, to always find the length of it and then subtract 1 if you want to get the last item. And then we can go ahead and do print. And then from the names array, we're going to pass it in the last index, which in this case is 3. If we go ahead and run it, we will get Delaney again. So in summary, if we want to go ahead and print items from a list one by one, we can go ahead and name the list, and then use square brackets, and then inside of it, we want to put the index of the item we want to print. Be careful about going over or out of bounds when we're doing arrays. And then also, if we don't know the length of the list, it's a really good idea to go ahead and use the len function, pass in the list that you want to find the length of, and then do a -1, and that'll be the last index. Also, little cheat code because it's Python, and Python is a little sketchy, but good sketchy. We actually do a -1 because this is 0, 1, 2, and 3. But if we were to count them backwards, it'd be -1, -2, -3, -4. So if I want to print Aaron, I can either do index 0 or I can do index -4. And we get Aaron. You did it. You got items from a list. Nicely done. Next up though, how do we add items to an already existing list? Figure that out over here. Or you guys can go back and learn just how to create a list in general right over here. All right, take care, everybody. Happy coding. Bye.